Hello, my name is Dr. Deandra Mull, and I serve as Associate Vice President and Dean of Students at The Ohio State University. In this session, we'll talk about how you, as a student affairs professional, can better connect theory to practice. By the end of this session, you'll be able to describe what is a theory. You'll recognize the loop between research, theory, and practice, and you'll begin to articulate your own strategies for connecting theory to practice in your work. Let's begin by asking, what is a theory? A theory can be described as a system of ideas that explain a particular phenomenon. In short, theories help us simplify the complex world around us and put it into words, images, or models that are easier to understand. In a perfect world, a theory would be three things: simple, accurate, and generalizable, meaning that it's easy to understand based on evidence and applies across different contexts. However, in reality, no one theory is perfect. A good theory might only meet one or two of these conditions. So it's important to use a blend of multiple theories in your work and always consider their strengths and weaknesses. In student affairs, theories have traditionally been grouped together in families. I've used many of these theories throughout my own career, but today I'll illustrate how to use one in particular, Nancy Schlossberg's transition theory. Transition theory is well known in student affairs because college is a time of transition for many students. Schlossberg defines a transition as any event or non-event that results in changed relationships, routines, assumptions, and roles. Think for a moment about transitions that students navigate each day. Changing their major, beginning a new job, or maybe transferring to a new campus. Some transitions are expected and some unexpected. Sometimes a non-event, like finding out you won't graduate on time, causes a student to experience transition. With transition theory, Schlossberg identified 4 factors that influence how a person copes with transition. Those factors are known as the 4 S's: situation, self, support, and strategy. Here's a brief explanation of each one. First, look at the situation. What is the transition? Is it temporary or permanent? What other factors or stressors are important to consider? Second, consider the self. How are factors like identity, values, self-efficacy, and other personal characteristics relevant? Third, who or what can offer support? What resources are available? Who are people in the student's network that can help? What does that support entail? And finally, what strategies dictate the next steps? How will the student manage stress, make meaning of the transition, and move forward? Whatever the context, helping students in transition is one of the most important services that student affairs professionals provide. Now that we've discussed one theory, let's return to the idea of connecting theory to practice. We can think about the relationships between research, theory, and practice as a continuous loop. There's no true beginning or end because they are continually informing one another. But let's first say that a research team becomes interested in a topic. Staying in the same vein as student transitions, we'll get a little more specific. Pretend for a moment that the research question is, what challenges do student veterans face when they transition from life in the military to life as a college student? Thinking about this question, the research team uses existing theories to organize their ideas. Schlossberg's framework, the 4 S's, helps make a big topic easier to think about. For example, in one study, researchers used the 4 S's to describe how student affairs professionals can help veterans adjust to life on campus. Here's how they connected that topic to the framework. With regard to situation, we know that transitioning from the military to being a student can be difficult. But students specifically had questions about paying for school and transferring credits from their previous coursework. These issues made the transition particularly challenging. In terms of self, veterans often did not tell others that they were veterans. They usually kept this information to themselves, which can make it difficult for staff to identify these students and know that they were having difficulty transitioning to college. Third, it was important for student vets to find social support on campus. Veterans were often older than traditionally aged students, so making friends with peers could be challenging. Connecting with fellow veterans on campus was a great way to build community. Finally, research identified opportunities for the institution to do a better job of serving student veterans. Among the recommendations, veteran-specific initiatives could deliver information straight to a veteran student's email box, as well as organize social opportunities for them. By conducting this research and sharing new ideas, research adds theories that build upon prior work. Like we said earlier, no theory is perfect, so student affairs professionals always need to draw from multiple theories. Which brings us to step 3, applying theory to practice. As a student affairs professional, you do not need to be an expert on theory. And when you do consult theory, don't feel like you need to perfectly adhere to the author's work. Theory offers a guide that has been tested by others, but it is only meant to be a guide. It's important to use your own knowledge, experience, and emotional intelligence to apply theory to practice in a manner that makes sense to you. There are many ways to apply theory to practice, and they don't all involve direct interaction with students. This continuum illustrates the different ways that student affairs professionals apply theory to practice. On the one end, theory informs our everyday decisions and interactions. Knowledge about Schlossberg's transition theory and the 4 S's may help you directly support a student who is going through a transition. On the other end, theory can orient our strategic plans, major initiatives, and the ways that we assess our work. To return to our previous example, theory tells us that veterans experience certain challenges when they transition to school. A department might use these theories to evaluate current services and develop new policies, data collection, or programs that better serve student needs. Your own experiences will move back and forth along this continuum. Ask people in your network about some of their preferred theories and how they apply those theories to practice. As you are applying theory to practice, you might notice something unexpected. Maybe you discover theoretical gaps where there isn't a good explanation for a certain aspect of your work. These observations from practitioners can serve as the foundation for future research, and the cycle begins all over again. In the following modules, you'll learn about additional theories that you can apply to your work, no matter what you do in student affairs. Thank you.